Lori and Emilie. I am a home finder here now at Gateway Longview. This is, I believe, my 18th year of employment here. I was a caseworker for the first couple, and then I switched over into the home finding department. I am the proud mom of 11 kiddos, and that's through a combination of biological kids, foster children, adopted kids, and I now took legal guardianship of 3 kiddos that were in my home, so they're with me for the long haul.
I'm Emilie Keneally. I'm one of the supervisors of intensive preventive services here at Gateway. This is my 10th year here, and I am the parent of 2 daughters, 1 biological and 1 that was adopted through foster care.
This is my oldest. My first. What did I put in your birthday card? I said my firstborn.
Yep.
Emilie. Emilie has been with me at Gateway since she was probably in 7th or 8th grade.
Doing volunteer work.
Yes, I would come here on the weekends to do work, and I would bring her with me. And even at that age, she would be doing stuff that sometimes I supervise interns here from VSW and MSF. She would be doing that work already at that age, helping me file and stuff like that. And then what? Then you ended up doing per diem, and then we used to
visitation. And then I was a foster care caseworker, and then Wendy's Wonderful Kids, and then now supervisor.
Yeah, her desk was right in back of me, so her caseworker desk was here, and I would sit right here. So it was very neat.
I think, especially when I was working in foster care, it was so fun to collaborate on families and be able to share the highs and the lows, especially with someone that can understand and relate to that. And I think families appreciated seeing both of our perspectives when we would come to do home visits or things like that. So.
We'd be able to say, so she was a caseworker and she worked with the birth families and the kids, and I work with the foster families, but we would have then kids that ended up not being able to be returned home, and they would have to go into adoption. And so we can look back and we can say, we made that family. You and I worked together and we created this new family, that's really, and we also have, a social work saying in our house, we do all the time, to this day we do it. She'll come home every so often now and she'll say, good social work day. And that means, something great happened during the day. And I used to always do that. Come home and I would tell my kids, it was a good social work day for mom today. And then I would tell them exactly, kind of what happened. And so, that's something that we still do nowadays, right? Yeah.
100%. I always jokingly tell people that I was raised to be a social worker. I actually tried going to art school for a year when I started college, and then decided that I could not sit in a studio all day long. That was just not me. And I remember calling you, I think, because I was in Cleveland.
Coming home on a bus from Cleveland.
Yeah, and I called her and I told her I thought that I wanted to do social work, and she was like, well, you probably won't make a lot of money, but you'll be happy and you'll love your job.
Yep.
So that's how I ended up back in social work.
That's what I say to all my kids. I don't care what you do as a career. You have to be passionate about something. You have to love your job. Because here, 18 years later, and I say this to the families that I work with, I still love my job. Still love coming in every day, and that is largely, obviously, due to the surroundings that I have, my work environment. I think everybody here, we couldn't be, and I know if you would agree, I could not have done fostering for 18 years if I didn't have this work environment and the supervisors behind me and those people backing.
Being understanding.
Oh my
and
gosh,
flexible.
absolutely. Actually, my first child that I adopted was my first caseload that I ever got assigned at Gateway. It was, I think it was on my birthday of that year. I started working at Gateway. I was assigned a sibling group of 6 children. I worked with the family for 2 years. At the end of the 2 years, one of the kids, her behaviors were so challenging, I'll say, that we just could not find an adoptive family for her. And I remember going into my supervisor's office at the time and saying, I think I have an idea. And she's like, don't say it. Don't say it. I said, what if I adopted her? And she's like, oh my gosh, we can't do this. And oh my gosh, Lori, you can't do this. She's on. And then I went into her office again and she said, all right, so for the 6 weeks that the baby has to be home with you, this is what we can do. And she kind of helped me with a plan. And that's why I think I'm so sold on Gateway and why I believe in Gateway so much, because I feel like they back what we say. What they're asking me to say as an employee for foster care and adoption, they back it. And so even if, initially maybe they're not happy or, whatever.
It throws a wrench in things,
right.
Yeah.
They've helped me all along the way make it work. And because of that, that's why I have 11 kiddos in my home that are in better places in their lives. All of them, because of those decisions, I think. So I hope you'll agree you're one of them.
Yeah.
Emily's the oldest. We say Emily is she's the one I made all the mistakes on, and then we kind of learn from Emilie, right? No. And so Em is key to me having been able to foster this long. I think she has been key because she grew up with it. She influenced the other kids in the house. So maybe, if people were struggling, if it was a difficult time in the fostering world with us, I think you would turn things around or be able to talk to the other kids and say, this is not going to last forever. This is why mom's doing what she's doing or whatever. And then when she got of a certain age, I definitely incorporated her into the decisions of whether or not I was going to take placements.
Almost as another caregiver, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And now I say that with her, both with her adoptive daughter, and I think she's a better mom than I ever was. I really do.
That's not true.
Yes, I do. I think I see so much in you that I think, wow, that's really good.
I think the main thing is that it made us, me and my siblings, it made us so open-minded. We didn't question really anybody who came and needed something or needed help or needed a place to stay. So I think it definitely made us extremely open-minded and non-judgmental of people. I think it made us more empathetic as kids and adults, just because we were seeing a side of the world that a lot of kids don't necessarily see at a young age, if they're lucky. So I do think it really shaped all of us to just be better people in general, like through all of the things that we saw and learned. Not to say that there wasn't times where I was jealous that kids were taking up my mom's time or angry that they were treating my mom a certain way. There were definitely times where I was like, why do we do this? But in the long run, it was always something that, like, I think one of the best things you did was helping us take pride in it as a family. Like, we would talk all the time about not all families are meant to foster and adopt. They're just not. And the fact that we can do it is like a privilege, and it means we should do it because we're able to help people in a way that some people aren't. So I think that was like the best way that you framed things for us.
So it's funny, I get asked that question all the time because I think people think in terms of quantity of foster children when you think of a foster career, but I didn't do quantity. I had a lot of kids that stayed, like I had one little guy that was chronically ill that stayed with me for 4 or 5 years, and then he was returned back to his mom, and then he came back to me again, then he went back, and so I've had a lot of situations like that. So it's hard for me to, I didn't do a lot. Most of the kids that I ended up, that I fostered stayed. Mm-hmm. They ended up.
And the ones that didn't would have been short term, like respites, like a week here or a weekend or something like that.
Yeah. But I really do think how that played out is we worked with a lot of birth families that, oh my gosh, they come into the system so angry and stuff like that. But my first thing what would I say to them? Listen, at that point I would say, I have like 8 kids. I'm not out to take your kids. I said, so the quicker you can work on services and get them back, that's where we're at. Yeah, that's good. And I think that set the tone for everybody. So that it really ended up turning out with a lot of the birth parents, especially the ones of this last crew that I took legal guardianship of, just really working together. I mean, I've always had like birth parents can stop by anytime you want at my house. Like open door policy, give me a call. If we're home, stop by. The birth mom of my kids now, I mean, there'd be times when she's flying by in the car to go do something, and she'll slam on the brakes, pull over, and she'll see the kids out playing. And I'll look out the window and I'll yell out, "Oh my gosh, what are you doing here?" "Oh, I was just going past and just wanted to say hi to the kids." And because I think that's more normal for them. That's the way it should be. It should be me and your mom getting along, and you guys seeing her and her stopping by here so I think that's good for the kids, definitely. Oh my gosh, I love her. I mean, it's great because
and you like it because you don't have to do any of the bad stuff.
Right. Now I can, now when she has like,
a health or a mental health crisis.
Right, or we say lovingly, she's our hot mess. She comes with a lot of baggage and stuff like that. But now, like, I can truly laugh about it because I don't have to handle it, and so it is so funny sometimes to see them coming down and they're all worked up and do you know what she just did and stuff, and then I can just sit back and do what I do as a grandmother and then spoil her later on. I don't have to follow your rules with her, kind of. So I love it. I do. I love it. I think I am so impressed and I am so proud of her and John. Especially to come on board as young parents, with no parenting experience, and to take, at the time, a 14 or 15-year-old,
therapeutic 13-year-old
that had already had so many failed placements.
Yeah.
And I mean, when she comes to our house and she tells us about some of the things that she experienced, it breaks your heart. It just absolutely breaks your heart. And so I'm so proud of them that they stopped the cycle for this kid. She is ours. And what do we tell her all the time? "Oh my God, we love you to death, but you got to cut that out." She knows you're not going anywhere. We're going to be angry. You're going to be angry.
We're not kicking you out. You're not having to find another home. Yeah.
So, I mean, it's just like, I see it from two different ways. I mean, obviously, I love her and interacting with her, but I also love seeing them and what they did. I think it's very selfless. Very proud of them.
I can't pick just one.
It's like, for me now, the best part of kind of motherhood is, because I get like a couple different looks at it now, because I have you older kids, and so the best part of it now is seeing where you guys are at now, and how we think as moms and dads that we're raising everybody the same, but then your personalities kick in. So for me, that's the awesome part about a mother with you older guys, is that to see what you guys have made of yourselves, and you are all successes in whatever area you've tried. My one son is developmentally disabled. He is a success. He is just a success in what he does in his life.
He's got a job. He's a Lego master.
He is. He's just, we're very proud of him. And then now, even with mothering this new, the younger ones that I have on board, for me now, I feel like it's a do-over. So a lot of the things that I think, like Emily, it was so important for us that she read at 4 years old. Now I think, who cares? Like, who cares that I mean, at the point, it was very proud of me. But like now,
good for you, but.
Like now, I think that changes the way some of the things I do with this crew that I have on board now. The focus is different. The focus is, doing fun things with them and, instilling self-confidence in them and self-worth, and I don't know. So, I mean, that's what I think I get out of it now with this motherhood with these guys. I also, hear 31 years of parenting, and you still learn new stuff. You still learn new stuff. There are still so many challenges out there that, that you have to face. But I love everything about it, you know, I do. Especially the foster kids, I love seeing what they can become. You know, like, so you take in these kids that have all these challenging behaviors and stuff like that, and when I see them now, here we are 4, 5, 6 years later, you have kids that are normal kids that have an off day every now and then. You know, it's just, and it's all because somebody took the time, a family took the time
to love them.
And take them into your house and accept them for who they are and accept their families for who they are and build on that, so.
I think the best part about motherhood for me has been learning how to be more present in the moment, because I've always been such an anxious person that I always had to have things a certain way to make myself feel good and have a plan and stick to the plan and look into the future and what was going to happen, and all of that goes out the window when you have kids. So I think that it's been really good for me to kind of realize what stuff is worth caring about and what's not worth caring about, and just focus on what's happening right now versus what's going to be. And it's definitely made me way more laid back than I was before.
Agreed. We should take that motto from one of the branches of the service that said it's the toughest job you'll ever love, because I think that should be like a foster care motto, that it's this toughest job you'll ever love. And I tell new foster parents that we're training now through our MAP groups and stuff like that. Yeah, we have to tell you the other side of it, the difficult part of it is, but I wouldn't be doing it for 18 years if there wasn't just a joy part of it. Mm-hmm. And I think that's what people have to understand, is there's a joy part of it too, at the influence you could have on the lives of these kids and their families and things. So.
And I think the other thing that, I mean, we're a good example of is that you cannot do it alone. Like, even if you have a partner, you can't do it just the two of you. John and I need support from you and our family all the time, especially when it comes to challenging stuff with Mariah, like if she's having trouble with her mental health or we're working through some trauma stuff. Like, you need a strong support network in order to be able to do it. And the kids that you take care of deserve to have that too. So I think that's super important to have.
Absolutely.